So today we're going to be talking about the battle. The battle that is Lexie Hull versus Sophie Cunningham to see who starts at that three. There are four set starters for the Indiana Fever. Natasha Howard, Aaliyah Boston, Caitlin Clark, and Kelsey Mitchell. It is a battle between Lexie Hull and Sophie Cunningham to see who starts at the three. And in this video, I'm going to be talking about the battle, who I think is going to win, my reasons for why I think one player is going to play over the other. And yeah, if you guys think that it should be Lexie Hull, subscribe. We're trying to hit 41,750 by the end of the day. That would be an incredible goal. And if you guys think it should be Sophie Cunningham, subscribe as well. But yeah, I'm going to give my opinion on it. And I'm going to give my reasons for each of them. First of all, it's Lexie Hull. Lexie Hull, the biggest thing about Lexie Hull is how she finished last season, and she was already there. Lexie Hull, I think, you can make the argument that she earned a starting spot on that team. So if you want to look at Lexie Hull's game log, it's the biggest thing with Hull. Yes, in the playoffs, 3 of 9 from the field in game 2, 1 of 4 in game 1, didn't do too much. Hit 1 of 7 threes in the playoffs, which is not a great percentage. And then coming at the end of the season, from the 8 in their last 5 games, she was 1 of 10 from 3, which is not good. And also from the field, she did not shoot better than 33% through those last 5 games. She was really good in the Dallas game, in the Atlanta game they won in overtime. The Dallas game, the Sparks game, she was pretty good. But if you want to look at her points, she really was good after the Olympic break. I thought she was really good in this Phoenix Mercury game. She hit some big shots. And then she was unbelievable against Seattle. She had a 17-point game here. But still, it was 10, 2, 6, 4, 8. They were solid enough minutes, but in big minutes. Coming towards the Olympic break, she was starting to play a lot more. And at the start of the season, she was way down, which is obviously a big reason why she was playing very few minutes. She was getting a lot of DMPs. There was a stage where she didn't win a game. Yeah, she didn't win a game until that she played in, until the 14th of June. She went an entire month, and the only games they won, she was getting DNPs. So that wasn't a good thing for Lexie Hull to start the season, but she really came into it, and she's the best defender on the team. We're seeing it unrivaled. She's not shooting the ball particularly well, but she's locking down. She cuts really well off the ball, and she's got length at 6'1". And her length really bothers people. Her length is something that really bothers people in general, because it's just the way Lexie Hull is a player. And we also just hit 10K on our NBA channel, which is great all day. But that's just the way Lexie Hull is as a player. She is a good defender, good off the ball, and very good as a fifth player. One and another reason, Lexie Hull would shore up the bench a little bit, but Lexie Hull has no real experience having success off the bench. She hasn't. Other than, say, a couple of games, I think she was off the bench in these couple of games. A few games that she came off the bench in post-Olympic break. And then a few pre-Olympic break where she was pretty decent off the bench. She has in her career had not very much success off the bench. When it comes to Sophie Cunningham has been in the league longer, whereas Lexie Hull was this close to being out of the league. I think when it comes to Sophie Cunningham, it'll be hard for her to be out of the league. She averaged 3 extra points per game, and did it, though, on a lot more minutes per game. As far as percentages are concerned, we look at Lexie Hull's percentages for the season. So Lexie Hull shot 47% from 3, I'm pretty sure. But for her career, is still only a 31% three-point shooter, which is not ideal. Which is not really ideal for Lexie Hull, because she just got super duper hot over a few games. She was shooting sub 20% before the Olympic break. She just got super hot. Whereas Sophie Cunningham is a 36% three-point shooter. And she's only played 2 playoff games. Last year. Was it last year? For last season, she shot 42% from 3, averaging 6.5 points per game. And also, he can see 8.4 points, 4 boards, 2 assists, 1 steal, and she is 6'1" as well. If you want to look at her game log, she shot the ball again pretty okay in the playoffs. She played 35 minutes against a Lynx team they nearly beat, especially in game 1. But you're looking at her minutes, like, she was having, like, pretty consistent double-digit games. Like, she was coming off the bench to start the season, and she was still putting up 10, 13, 11, 9, 13 on really good percent shooting. Like, on freakishly high percentage shooting, by the way, to start the year off the bench. And then she got moved into the starting lineup a little bit later into the year. And as a starter, she was playing the power forward position. And you could see, like, when she was starting to play power forward, 7, 6, 10, 8, 6, she was getting a lot of boards. So she is the more versatile player. She is the better shooter. And Sophie Cunningham is somebody that can be very good as a starter and be very, very solid off the bench as well. So for me, that is an interesting one there, is that's what Sophie Cunningham can do. Of these two players, who is the better player? Sophie Cunningham. Sophie Cunningham is better than Lexie Hull. And I think that, yes, Lexie Hull had that unbelievable hot streak. Like, her hot streak that she had post-Olympic break was incredible. Like, the version of Lexie Hull that played in that 7 or 8 game stretch post-Olympic break is better than Sophie Cunningham. Who is the better defender, Lexie Hull or Sophie Cunningham? So Lexie is a better guard defender. Sophie Cunningham is a better big wing defender, and she can play a little bit at the 4. Versatility-wise, Sophie Cunningham can play the 4. She's a much better power forward than Lexie Hull. She's obviously, Lexie Hull can't play there, but she's a much better power forward than Katie Lou Samuelson. Sophie Cunningham has the ability to play the 2, 3, 4. She has the ability to guard the 2, 3, 4. Is a better rebounder. Is, for her career, a better shooter. We need to see what sort of hot streak Lexie Hull goes on, whether it's a hot streak or whether she can continue that. And we can also have to look at, like, just overall versatility. Is she has that versatility. And you might be thinking that means that I'm saying that Sophie Cunningham should start. I think in an ideal world, if we were playing NBA 2K, we would start Sophie Cunningham. But Lexie Hull earned a starting spot game 1. I mean that. What Lexie Hull did during the season, she has earned herself a starting spot in game 1. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. And I think it would be absolutely unfair unless you get an all-star, which Sophie Cunningham is not. Unless you get an all-star, I think it would be unfair to take Lexie Hull's starting spot off her, because she was that good. It wasn't like Melissa Smith, who played her way out of a starting spot. Lexie Hull played her way into a starting spot. I think that when it comes to Hull, that is, like, something that matters. Like, continuity, loyalty, players that fit. That needs to be, especially for game 1. That's something that should be rewarded. And for game 1 against the Chicago Sky, in my opinion, the starter should be Lexie Hull. Because familiarity, continuity, there are a lot of things that, like, come into it on a personal standpoint, a personnel standpoint, as well as just team chemistry and everything. Unless, like, if there are two players that there's even an argument. If there's even an argument who should start on game 1 of the season, the player that should start is the player that's already there. I'm not saying that Sophie Cunningham will not overtake Lexie Hull. And if through 3 or 4 games, Sophie Cunningham is playing better than Lexie Hull, I think that's when you can make the switch up. But for me, I do think the starters, like, should be it should be Lexie Hull to start the season. And also, what it allows you to do is, let's just say the starting 5 are absolutely hooping. When you're making subs and you're putting on, let's be real, Sophie Cunningham's probably going to be 6th player. You can make a decision on who to take off. You can go, if Aaliyah Boston's struggling, you can go ultra small. You can put Sophie Cunningham in there and go Natasha Howard at the 5. You can go super duper small. If you want to go big, you can put her in for Lexie Hull. If you want to go like for like, if you want to put her at the 4, Tash Howard's struggling, you can put her in. If you want to put her in at the 2, you can, because she's probably got a little bit better on the ball work than Lexie Hull. Because Lexie Hull with the ball in her hand can't do very much, we can be honest here. So I do think that while Cunningham is a better player, I also think initially Cunningham is someone who will give them more off the bench. And I do think that by the end of the season, Sophie Cunningham will be starting. Or, by the way, the Indiana Fever might end up getting someone like a DeWanna Bonner. Like, there's a non-zero. If there was a guarantee she was going to Phoenix, she would already be at Phoenix. There is a non-zero chance that the Fever get DeWanna Bonner. Or the Fever could get Janelle Salone. There are players the Fever could get that could push both of them to the bench. Like, if the Fever get Janelle Salone, I think by the end of the season, she'll be a starter. But I don't know if that happens. And in Sophie Cunningham is, when it comes to Salone and Cunningham, they can play the 3, they can play the 4. They can play like a little bit at the 2 maybe. Like, when you get these super, super like versatile players, like Salone 6'3", when you get all these versatile players, it allows you to do so many interesting things with your lineup. But my prediction is, of the 2 of these, the starting small forward is going to be Lexie Hull. And if Lexie Hull plays like she did post-Olympic break for those 7 or 8 games, she's not going to lose that spot. And then I think Sophie Cunningham is, if Lexie Hull fades a little bit, I think Sophie Cunningham will take the spots. Cunningham's been more consistent than she has been throughout her whole career. And also, we all know last year how much the team struggled without Lexie Hull on the floor. You've now got a backup who's arguably better than Lexie Hull. It's a great problem for the Fever to have 2 really, really solid wings that both fit exactly what is needed to do on the same team. It's a great problem to have. Anyway, I'll see you guys.